there. We're recording. We're streaming to Facebook, and we are going live. You ready?
Yes, sir. Let's go for it.
And we're live here on Facebook. I'd like to welcome those listening in podcast land. And also, hello to my buddy Rich. Rich, how you doing today?
I'm doing good, Mike. So, nice day off yesterday, and just a nice, quiet Veterans Day down in Brimfield with my nephews.
That's awesome. I'm glad the pictures look like you guys had a great time. I'm so happy you got to spend the day with them, and they got to brag on you and hang out with you and show off their cool uncle to all their friends. More of that and more gushing on you later. I know you don't like it, but you deserve it.
It's all good.
And we got a few other shout outs that we're going to give later in the show. Other than that, anything get to do anything fun this week?
Other than that, not really. So, got a haircut. Got a haircut on Friday, so I got to give a shout out to Amanda Carter over at a Decades Barbershop. So unexpectedly, she didn't charge. Huh?
You changed barbershops?
Yeah, I've been going to Decades for a while. They're close. It's close to home. They're right across from the fairgrounds, actually.
But Rich, you used to go to Ray's and Ray's exclusively.
Yeah, actually, Amanda actually used to work at a Ray's, so I inadvertently followed her to her new shop. I didn't even know she worked at Decades, so until I walked in there one day to get a haircut.
Okay.
So yeah, she gave me a free cut unexpectedly.
Rich,
because I got it on Friday.
Time out. We got a comment shout out already. And this, we do. This one we got to share. It says from Bob Driscoll. It says, "Hey Mikey, thank you for your service, Rich."
Awesome, thank you.
So, Bob Driscoll says hi. Okay, so let's get into the show. This week we got lots of stuff to talk about. We're gonna spend a lot of time in the NFL because there's a lot of other things that we normally talk about ended this week, and we have the Masked Singer. Rich, what are our other two big topics we got to talk about this week?
Well, Mike, we finally got to close the book for this season, at least, on NASCAR as well as the MLB, as those seasons wrapped up in between our shows.
Yep.
But Mike, all that and more, but what do we got to do first?
We got to roll the intro! Broadcasting live from somewhere in Iowa, this is Balls and Sticks, the podcast, with your hosts, Mike and Rich. And we're back. So, this week, our poll question, man, this was a hard one. Rich, how did you vote on this week's poll? Let the people know what the poll question was and how you voted.
This week's poll question was Ozzy Osbourne's Crazy Train or We Will Rock You by Queen. And I went with Crazy Train.
Yeah, I see that. Wow.
Where did you vote, and where did the people vote, Mike?
I voted for Ozzy.
Okay.
And the Crazy Train. And so did Brad Carroll, Zach Milla, and you.
Good.
But that's four votes. But we had 5 votes for We Will Rock You. Bernie Calkins, Haley, Matt Johnson, my wife, and your dad all voted for We Will Rock You. That gives We Will Rock You the win for this week. Man,
all right.
That is a close one there. Thank you, all 9 of you that voted. If you want to participate in our poll questions, you can check us out at Fans of Balls and Sticks. That's where all of our poll questions get posted. So
Or you
Facebook.
can also find them at the Balls and Sticks fan page, because we typically tend to share it, which puts it on both pages.
Yeah. Okay. So, Rich, what is this week's poll question?
Well, Mike, this week we're going to be doing the techno beats of Sandstorm or Kerncraft 4000. You probably don't know that the names of the songs, but when you click on the YouTube videos, which will give you, I guess, like not words of the songs, but at least what the songs are, you would recognize them.
Okay, if you insist. You come up with these yourself, and you do a great job, and I appreciate it. I totally, like, a lot of times you put songs on that you put the name, and I have no clue what it is, and then I listen
It's
to
like
it.
I don't know which one is it. One of them is da na 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 na.
Okay.
I don't remember what the other one is.
Okay. That one I know.
That's what it is.
But yeah, it's okay. You're good at coming up with
this
them.
week.
I love them. They're fun. Rich, do you see what's coming up next?
Well, for our show purposes, it's a left turn, but and what's after that, Mike?
Well, after that, we're parking the cars in good old North Carolina, because this is the NASCAR Corner, presented as always by Triple I Sports Cards Incorporated, Moline, Illinois. Check them out for all your sports memorabilia needs in person on 5th Avenue or on their eBay store. Once again, that is Triple I Sports Cards Incorporated. Rich, last championship weekend, last weekend, great race. I watched it over the afternoon football games because I didn't really care about the afternoon football games.
Yeah, we actually went out to Coal Valley and watched the race with Ron.
Yeah.
With Ron. So
I'm sure he thoroughly enjoyed that.
Championship race out in Phoenix. Your race winner, much like he started the first race of the season, first televised race of the season with a win, he wins the last race of the championship race, Joey Lugano.
Yeah, Joey pulling it off. The whole race did great. Watching those guys, Joey had the car of the field. I mean, he led more laps than anybody. All of your championship drivers did well except one. We'll get to that one in just a second because one of us picked that guy.
Yeah. So one thing that came out was that it seemed like maybe if there would have just been one more caution caused by maybe Ross Chastain, the guy I picked, could have had enough time to pass him.
Yeah.
So we're all thinking while we're watching the race, Daniel Suarez is way back in the field and has no chance of doing anything in this race. Why not call over the radio and say, hey Danny, do something to cause a caution. Do something to make a caution come out.
And by technicality, collusion in NASCAR is illegal. So you'd have to have a password that everybody knows prior to make that happen. That's the way that it works. You can't just cause a caution. You can't call over the radio. Otherwise, both teams would get penalized and Ross Chastain would lose the race. So that wouldn't matter. But yeah, I totally understand what you're saying. You would think that teammates would work more like that. They don't, which I appreciate because I don't want.
So you're saying that the dramatization from Talladega Nights with the owner calling down to Cal Naughton Jr.'s teammate, and they're saying you need to take out Cal Naughton Jr.
Yeah, no,
take out Cal Naughton Jr.
That's not a thing.
Okay. I know it's not, but that was the one thing that we were thinking. It was like,
yeah, and
Chastain at the time was running faster laps and needed more laps to maybe make the pass. Go back to your teammate and say, all right, do something that comes out of caution.
Yeah, it would have been interesting to see if they had gotten everybody on the same spot. But then the question becomes, does everybody that is, let's say Joey and Ross don't come in don't pit at that caution, but everybody behind them does. those better tires are likely going to cause those guys not to win the race. And if one of the championship drivers is behind them that had pitted and is out early enough, that guy could end up winning over the other two. So it's that weird thing that happens with NASCAR. The tires matter. The way that your car is set up matters. And so it might not have changed things either way. And it might have changed things for the worse.
Yeah, that was just a topic of discussion that came up here. That's all.
Yeah.
All right, so the race results between the drivers that we chose, Ross Chastain came in third. Your pick of Chase Elliott came in 23rd.
Yeah, that was bad.
Due to getting spun out.
Yep.
But I don't think it was intentional. It just both guys were going down the lower side of the track, and
yeah, I mean it was a racing thing. It wasn't anything intentional, but Ross it put Chase Elliott way in the back. Kevin Harvick for your non-playoff driver finished 5th, and my Denny Hamlin finished 8th. Rich, for the year, you won 23 points, and 15 of those came in the playoffs.
That is correct.
Won 30 points, and only 9 of which came in the playoffs. So, yeah,
I came on strong there during the playoffs, but just not
enough.
There were a couple of races where I split and just didn't get enough races to close the gap enough. So, Mike, since you won the overall last season, hopefully we remember this. You will get the first pick for the Clash at the Coliseum when the next NASCAR season starts.
So, Rich, we have Fantasy NASCAR. This is the last week that we're going to talk about NASCAR, so we're going to give a little bit of a shout-out to everybody in our Fantasy NASCAR this week. Rich, you came in first with 6,665 points. Easers came in second with 5,978 points. Funkhouse came in third with 5,972 points. Dupo came in fourth with 5,865 points. And I made you all feel better by allowing you all to beat me at 5,178 points. If you think that was intentional, folks, you're wrong. It was not. I was not thrilled about that, but things happen.
Yeah. All right, just amongst the playoff races, I came in first with that in amongst those races as well with 1917. The Funkhouse came in second with 1779. Easers came in third with 1751. Dupo 24 came in fourth with 1588. And Mike, you also finished fifth amongst the playoff races as you only garnered 1401 in points.
Oh man, that's a bit of a bummer.
So we'll bring back Fantasy NASCAR next season, and hopefully, and if you want to join, make sure to look for the link in our show episodes once it gets closer to the NASCAR season, so you can join our Fantasy NASCAR League.
Yep. Okay, Rich, you want to do the honors?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and give the last shout out to Triple I Sports Cards Incorporated, our sponsor for the NASCAR Corner. If you're in town, they're located on 5th Avenue in Moline, and you can also find them on their eBay store, Triple I Sports Cards Incorporated. So, Mike, let's go ahead and go over to the gridiron to go over Week 9 and Thursday Night Football.
Yep.
Mike, the lock of the week, I went with the Vikings over the Commanders, and it was a close win for the Vikings as they won 20-17, improving my mark to 6-2-1. Mike, you went with the Patriots over the Colts. Much more of a lock.
Rich,
the Patriots.
How are you at 6-2-1?
Is that more than?
Either that or you didn't update my score. In fact, you didn't update my score.
I didn't. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
There should have been
You're
9.
6-3.
Okay.
You're 6-3.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Sorry about that. 6-2-1 for me, Mike. You went with the Patriots over the Colts. The Pats won 26-3, improving your mark to 6-3. Mike, how do upset alerts go?
Upset alert. So, Rich, you picked the Falcons over the Chargers. Unfortunately, the Chargers pulled it out with a 20-17 win, bringing your record below 500 to 4-5. I picked the Lions over the Packers. The Lions beat up on the Packers 15-9, bringing my record up to 4-5. Rich, the Dolphins and the Bears played in Chicago. We both picked the Dolphins. The Bears did surprisingly well, but still fell short, losing to the Dolphins 35-33. How's that due to all of the records, Rich?
All right. So the Bears are 3-6. Mike, you're 7-2 picking the Bears. I am 6-3. Thursday night football, Mike, was the Falcons and the Panthers, and it was 25-15 Panthers. We both picked the Dirty Birds, dropping. So, Mike, you are 6-4. I am 5-5 on Thursday night football.
Okay. This week, Thursday night football. Well, do you want to do the power rankings? Because the power rankings are based on what they did up to last week. We don't include.
Okay, yeah, we can do that.
Okay, let's do the power ranking. We're going to go into our power rankings, folks. We're going to give you our top 10, our bottom 10, and we're going to talk about the ELO.
We're doing the bottom 10?
Or bottom 5. Bottom 5, sorry.
Gotcha.
Bottom 5. We're going to talk our ELO, and we're going to talk the power ranking system. Now, just so you know, the ELO is a ranking system that was originally designed for chess and figuring out a predictability of how chess matches would go. There's a big old formula. You can look it up online. It's a great formula. Doesn't give you all of the information because it goes through the past and it holds on to a lot of the information about how your team has done overall. And it takes a lot to get your team over the hump of a bad couple of seasons. So we're going to give you the ELO. Our power rankings takes Rich's eye pick, my eye test, the number of games won, and the ELO all into considerations, does some number crunching, much more simpler math than the ELO itself, but overall still takes it all into consideration, crunches the numbers, and spits out a power ranking for what we're saying the power rankings should be. Okay, with all that being said, we're going to give you the top 5 in the power rankings, the top 5 in the ELO, and then Rich and I are going to talk about how our eye test goes. So, Rich, at number 1, the power rankings have 1 through 5. The power rankings have number 1, the Eagles. Number 2, the Kansas City Chiefs. Number 3, the Buffalo Bills. Number 4, the Minnesota Vikings. And number 5, the Dallas Cowboys. That is your power rankings. Now, let's get to the ELO. The ELO has the Kansas City Chiefs at number 1, the Buffalo Bills at number 2, the Philadelphia Eagles at number 3, the Dallas Cowboys at number 4, and the Minnesota Vikings at number 5. So, Rich, without getting too into your eye test, what do you think of those two things? Are they good? Are they good and accurate? And could you make an argument for those top 5 rankings?
Yeah, I could. I don't disagree with them. I think that they have the right 5 teams in the top 5.
100%.
And I could clearly see that with past success, I'm okay with the Kansas City Chiefs being number 1 off of the ELO. They play a tough schedule. So while they've...
Yeah.
So, if you play a tougher schedule, there's a chance you could lose more games, even if you're a better football team than and if you took it as head-to-head, the undefeated team, the Kansas City Chiefs, I bet that would be a closer 50-50 split than you'd think.
Yep.
If playing on a neutral field or even no matter where the game's going to be played on neutral field in Philly or in Kansas City. So I really don't have a problem with the Chiefs being number 1, even though I have them ranked a little lower on my top 5.
Yep. So let's get into our top 10, Rich, as we will start with number 1. What a good place to start.
I went with the Philadelphia Eagles.
It's about time.
And I know, and it's hard for me to put a 2-loss team above them at this point.
And you don't like the Philadelphia Eagles.
No, I have nothing against the Eagles.
Okay. Oh wait, no.
The Steelers I don't like.
It's the Steelers. It's the other Pennsylvania.
The other Pittsburgh team. So, Mike, who do you have?
I have the Eagles. I mean, I told you if they win this week, they're going to they were last week. They now have to lose in order for them not to be number one for me. It's at that point that they have to lose for them to be number one.
Okay. For me, I think it could come down to who they lose to.
I agree.
If they
lose, who they lose to, that's the big determining factor for me. If they lose to like the Washington Redskins, that probably drops them a little bit more drops them down out of one. But if they lose to like the Cowboys, there's a good possibility that doesn't drop them out of one.
No. What if they lose to the Green Bay Packers, who I'm guessing may or may not be down in the high 20s?
Yeah, somewhere in that.
We'll get to that later. We'll get to that later. Okay, so Mike, who do you have at number 2?
And number 2, I have the Minnesota Vikings. They are on a tear. They've only lost one game. They look good. This week could change that. They are coming up against a really good team this week. But our power rankings are what have they done this year, not what do they have coming up. That's a big difference there. So you know what? With a one loss, I think that puts them at number 2. They've earned that right.
All right. This is where I dropped the Buffalo Bills down to number 2. And basically why I have them above the Vikings, it comes down to kind of like that strength of schedule for me.
Yeah, and you know what? I get it. The hard part there, though, is that, I mean, they play this week. So depending on the outcome, one of us will likely drop one of the two teams to the other. And it's likely that one of those two teams is going to drop and the other one's going to raise just a little bit. Maybe. We'll see.
But by all means, Mike, if the Vikings win, whether the game is what do the Bills play with or without Josh Allen, if the Vikings beat the Bills, through my train of thought, it's hard for me to have a team that you've beaten above you, and there would only now the Bills would have to be a 3-loss team. I would be moving the Vikings up to number 2 if they can win.
Yep. Okay. So this week we have what do you have at number 3, Rich?
This is where you have the Vikings.
You know what? That's fine. I mean I accept that. That's not a bad ranking for them. This is where I have the Buffalo Bills, by the way.
Okay. Mike, who do you have at number 4?
The Kansas City Chiefs.
I agree on that one.
It's hard for me because the Kansas City Chiefs. So, and I don't know if you did this as a kid, but everybody I know, all of my friends, me included, we had the Chicago Bears, and they were always our team, right? But we knew that they weren't a good team. So you always had that secondary team you cheered for. And mine was always Kansas City.
Was that because Joe Montana went and played there for a couple of years?
Yeah.
That's where he ended his career?
It's also where he went where he won 11 games before losing with a terrible team. They were like a 8-win team the year before, and they won 11 straight and ended up being like 13-3, I think is what it was at the time. I don't remember exactly, but yeah, it was I followed Joe Montana.
Gotcha. And Mike, who do you have rounding out your top 5?
I have the Baltimore Ravens.
All right. I went with the Dallas Cowboys.
You know, I tried to put the Cowboys there, but I couldn't. I just couldn't. I had the Ravens. Something about them just says to me, and at this point, it probably comes back to quarterback play, and Lamar Jackson is just playing lights out. The rest of the team, maybe not, but Lamar, he's good.
All right, Mike. What do the power rankings in the ELO have in the bottom half of the top 10, going 6 to 10?
You want? I thought we were just doing power rankings 1 to 5 is all, but I will do that. Okay, so number 6 they have the Baltimore Ravens. The power rankings has the Baltimore Ravens. Number 7 they have the Seattle Seahawks. Number 8 the Tennessee Titans. Number 9 the Miami Dolphins, and number 10 the San Francisco 49ers.
Interesting. Okay, what's the ELO have?
The ELO at number 6 has Tennessee, and number 7 Baltimore, number 8 San Francisco, number 9 Seattle, and number 10 the Cincinnati Joe Burrows.
Okay, so I think this is where we could have some differences between the ELO and the power rankings. So, Mike, who do you have at number 6?
At number 6, that's where I have the Dallas Cowboys.
That's where I put the Baltimore Ravens.
Yep. Number 7, I have the Miami Dolphins here.
Me too.
They are looking good this year. Number 8, I have the Seattle Seahawks.
Me too. And I did not. I put my rankings in before you did.
You did,
You were finishing yours. You were finishing yours before we went on the air.
I did mine. So I didn't look at yours for mine. I did mine separately.
Yep.
So what do you have at number 9, Rich?
Number 9, I have the New York Jets.
Are you sure you didn't copy?
I did not.
Because I have the New York Jets as well. So 7, 8, 9, there's not a lot of discussion. Number 10, I have the Tennessee Titans.
I put the New York Football Giants here.
I am still, and again, I've been doing this all year with the East, and I've finally come around to the Eagles, and I've finally come around to the Cowboys. The Giants are that team right now in the East that I know they're a good team. I have them at 11, Rich.
Mm-hmm.
But something about putting them in the top 10 is hard for me. I think Tennessee... I think they're better than Tennessee. I'm 100% honest. I think they're better than Tennessee. But I just couldn't pull myself to put Tennessee up there.
Okay.
That's just where I was.
I have Tennessee at 11. So we're not that far off between the Giants and the Bengals, the Giants and the Titans. The teams that I maybe wanted to get into the top 10, but just based off their records, who they've won against, who they've lost against, I just couldn't do it, was like the Bengals and the 49ers. On paper, those teams should be better. And
the Niners are looking
better. Based off of the results, I can't get them.
But the Niners are getting
by going into the top 10.
The Niners are getting there. They are quickly becoming a team that's better than what we thought they were. So, okay, Rich, let's look at the power rankings 32 to 27. At 32, the Houston Texans. At 31, the Detroit Lions. At 30, the Carolina Panthers. At 29, the Jacksonville Jaguars. At 28, the Steelers. And at 27, the Raiders.
All right.
The ELO then changes things up a little bit, as it also has it has Houston at 32. Now, it has a tie for 30th.
Ooh, okay.
Between the Lions and the Jaguars. They tied. So that kind of hurts both. It kind of hurts both those teams. That explains a little bit. At 29, the ELO has the Broncos.
Mm-hmm.
So that would actually be 28. I'm sorry, that's 28. And at 27, they have another tie at the 27 ranking, and that's going to be the Chicago Bears, or I guess it's 27-28. So, yes, the 29 would have been, 29 would have been 29 is the Broncos. At 27/28 tied is the Carolina Panthers and your Chicago Bears. Our Chicago Bears.
All right, Mike, let's go through ours. Number 32, I put the Houston Texans.
Yeah, there's no way that you don't put the Houston Texans in there right now. Yeah, I just there's no way that you don't. At 31, I have the Carolina Panthers.
I put the Vegas Raiders here.
Okay.
For me, it just came down to the Raiders have beaten the Broncos and the Texans, and the team that I put at number 30, the Carolina Panthers, have beaten the Saints and the Buccaneers. So for me, I think the Panthers have defeated better teams, slightly better teams than the Raiders. So that's why I did them at 31, and then the Panthers at 30.
Okay.
Mike, who do you have at 30?
At 30, I have the Detroit Lions.
Okay. I put the Lions up at number 29.
And did you say who you had at 30?
I did. I put the Carolina Panthers.
Okay. At 29, I put the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Okay. And who do you have at number 28, Mike?
The Chicago Bears.
All right. I have the Pittsburgh Steelers at number 28.
And at 27,
I went with the Indianapolis Colts.
Me too.
All right. So, Mike, I put the Bears up at 23. And for me, it came down to I was trying to look at the teams that have the same amount of win totals and look at who they beat and who they beat. But in fairness, lately, the Bears have been a little bit more interesting to watch.
They are playing better.
The results haven't gotten them wins yet, but at least the games are a little bit closer, and it's not run, punt, or sack, interception, or Justin Fields' offense not being able to move the ball down the field.
I agree. It is making me question whether or not this team is as bad as we thought they were at the beginning of the year. I still think they're that bad. Obviously, I think they're a bottom 5 team. But they are on the cusp of being able to get out of that bottom 5.
Yeah, for me, I think they're not a bottom 5 team based off of my eye test because I think they're playing better than teams like Pittsburgh and Indianapolis and Jacksonville and Denver, and I even have New Orleans.
Yeah.
I think they're playing better than them. If the power rankings is what have you done for me lately, the Bears, I think, are playing better than those teams that I have ranked below them, which is why I put them up to 23.
Yeah. And I don't blame you on that. I don't think that's terrible. I think you're right. So
Mike, let's round out the NFC North. Where do you have the Packers at?
Where do I have the Packers? I have them right. I have them at 20th.
I put them at 20 as well.
And
if they keep on losing and keep falling, they're probably going to continue going down the rankings, even though they're going to be playing tough top 5 teams. As their next couple of games, they're going to have to play the Cowboys, the Titans, and the Eagles before they make it to the bye week.
Yeah,
so more than likely, they're going to keep on going down, even though they're losing the great teams.
Yeah.
Which the kind of like the topic around sports radio that I heard this week is, at what point do the Packers have to think about the organization and play Jordan Love? Or do they commit to saying, all right, we signed Aaron Rodgers with this big contract, so we're going to play him?
At what point does Aaron Rodgers retire? And I'm not saying that as a Bears fan. I'm just, man, what
happened?
What's
this mean?
I know what happened. Ayahuasca is for losers.
Or
tells everybody it's for lovers.
Invest in the offense. They didn't give him a wide receiving core.
But I think he has not done anything since he started taking that. Since he took that ayahuasca, he is. Yeah, ayahuasca is for losers. That's where we're at.
Yeah, I mean, you could make the case that Davante Adams was maybe meant more to that offense than everybody knew, but he's with the Raiders now, and the Raiders didn't improve with him.
Yeah.
They went from being a playoff team to getting Davante Adams, and now they're they're struggling to get wins. They only have 2 wins.
I think the problem there is much different. I think that's a completely different. I don't think they're. That is a post hoc ergo proctor hoc. It happened after it, therefore it's caused by it. It is not one of those situations. I think Devontae Adams going to Vegas has very little to do with any issues that are going on in Vegas. I think Vegas had so many more issues going on well before he even got there that they were set up to fail from the beginning.
Okay. So anywho, at what point do you think the Packers should go to Jordan Love at some point, or will they go to Jordan Love? Because the one of the things that Talk Radio brought up this week was that if there's a good chance that Aaron Rodgers won't come back next year, whether it's because you release him or trade him, or Aaron Rodgers says, I don't want to be here no more, trade me, or he retires, don't you want to know what you got in Jordan Love in in-game situations?
Yeah, I think that's a great point. I think that's what they should be doing, but I don't know that that's what they're going to do. Has Aaron Rodgers earned the right to want to do what he wants to do?
I think so.
Then you can't sit him. If you feel like Aaron Rodgers, and as a Green Bay in Green Bay ownership, if you feel that that Aaron Rodgers is that good, then you have to let him be Aaron Rodgers. You can't have it both ways there. That's where we're stuck at.
Okay.
So, okay, let's move on. As we move on, we're going to go to this week, week 10, Thursday Night Football, Rich, or lock of the week. Let's go with lock of the week first.
We already talked about Thursday Night Football. So, Mike, it's an even week, so you had the first choice of matchups. Who did you go with?
I am going to pick the Eagles over the Commanders. The Eagles look good. It is a divisional game, which is always a terrible thing to do, but I'm trusting in the Eagles. They've earned my trust this year, so we're going to go with the Eagles.
All right. I like it. I'm going to go with I'm going to pick a low-hanging fruit, and I'm going to go with the Chiefs over the Jaguars.
Yeah, I thought about that one too. That was my second one. A lot of the games this week look like they're locks. There are very few upsets this week, making our upset specials a little harder to pick, but we came up with some anyway for you. So I am going to pick the Vikings over the Buffalo Bills.
I like that pick. I like it even more if Josh Allen doesn't play. But even if he doesn't play, even if he does play, he's going to be playing hurt. So I like that pick. I think the Vikings could go in and get a win over the Bills, with or without Josh Allen.
Yep.
I like the pick. For me, I'm going to go with the Cardinals over the Rams. It's a divisional game. Matthew Stafford's in the concussion protocol, and quite frankly, it's almost looking like the Rams. You can pretty much saying that the Super Bowl hangover is real because of how the Rams have been playing this year.
Yeah, it's a real thing. It's been rough this year, and so we'll see how that ends up playing out with the rest of the year. Rich, Thursday Night Football. It's gonna be a good game it'll be an interesting game to watch. This could be the point where the Packers finally pick things up. But we have Tennessee versus the Packers. I'm picking Tennessee.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Titans as well. And, Mike, you glossed over it. The Lions will be going into Chicago to take on the Bears. Who are you picking?
I'm going to pick the Lions.
I'm going to go with the Bears.
Okay.
The Bears have been showing that they're willing to cut. They finally found what's worked with Justin Fields. And the Lions tend to allow a lot of points through the air. So, I mean, I know Justin Fields hasn't thrown the ball for much in the air, but he's been able to make it work with designed runs or plays that turn into runs because no receivers are open. And so I think the Lions defense, I think the Bears can take advantage of that Lions defense.
The hard part for me, I look at this game and both teams right now have this scheduled on on their calendar as a game they could win. These are both teams that are pretty bad teams and don't have a lot of games that they feel like they could win. So both teams are going to come into this game thinking, we can win this game. And when both teams come into it, either team could win. I don't disagree with you. The Bears, if they play as well as they have been, I think they probably could get a win. But the Lions are mad. They were the darling of media this year, and midnight hit before the season started.
All right. So, Mike, before we leave the gridiron, we got another coach fired this week.
Yeah.
Frank Reich was fired in Indianapolis, and he was replaced by a rather odd candidate as the Colts dug into their Hall of Fame stash of Hall of Fame players and brought Jeff Saturday, center and offensive lineman Jeff Saturday, off from the broadcast booth of ESPN to come in and be their head coach on an interim basis.
Can somebody do a sanity check on the Colts ownership? Like, for real. Jeff Saturday can't think he's being brought in to win games, can he? Like, I don't understand.
I don't know
how this is working, how they think he is going to be, how this is going to go well. Like, maybe if he was like the CEO of a company and he was used to running organizations, he comes in and does what you and I do on a weekly basis and chit-chats with people. Yeah, he knows football, and he knows it quite well. And he was the offensive line leader when he was there, and he knows how to lead an offensive line. Has he ever coached an offensive line?
No.
Has he ever been?
His only coaching experience is high school football.
Has he ever been coaching to a point where he just hasn't? He has zero experience. It's a dumb call. If this isn't organizational tanking, I don't know what is.
Yeah, because I think they had two prior NFL head coaches on Frank Reich's staff. I think they had Gus Bradley, the former coach that did Jacksonville.
And they had John Fox, Bears
and Broncos.
Yeah,
Bears and Broncos coach, and Panthers.
Yeah. They had plenty of one of the things I've heard a lot about, which I don't think it matters but whatever. But they had plenty of people arguing that, well, shouldn't they have to follow the Rooney Rule? The Rooney Rule doesn't matter for when you put the tag interim in front of somebody. So, by the way, the Rooney Rule doesn't matter when you lift the tag of interim off of somebody. That's kind of disturbing too. But we can deal with that in the offseason when we will inevitably have to have that conversation yet again because the NFL does that. But I just have a hard time with the way, like, this is a bad call. It's a bad choice. If other teams did things that had this poor of calls, we would have an issue with it. So, okay, Rich, let's head off of the gridiron and head to the diamond as we have our final update on the MLB this year.
That's right, Mike. So it was the World Series, which wrapped up in between our two shows as Houston won Game 6 and won the series 4-2.
Yeah.
So Houston wins, so that means I'm getting a free lunch.
Yep.
A free lunch out of it. But kind of like the weird news that came out in the aftermath of the World Series is they chose to retain Dusty Baker. They gave him another one-year deal to run it back, but they chose to non-retain the general manager, James Click.
I still hate him, so I don't care what they do.
Okay. For me, it's just kind of weird.
It is odd. Yeah, I don't know why
I think that they
that.
offered him a one-year deal, so I could understand him saying walking away from it as, well, I just won you a World Series. Why are you giving me a one-year deal? Why can't I get some security to continue building a winning team for your winning organization.
Yeah, I totally get it. I don't have a problem. I think that it's weird. I thought it was odd when I first read the story about it, but it's Houston, and I don't understand anything that Houston sports does anymore, and it's the stupid team that cheated, and they will always be the stupid team that cheated. And if this year proves that those core 5 players that they brought back, that they've had since then, didn't need to cheat, then why were they cheating? And makes me actually more upset that they were cheating.
Okay. So, Mike, how are we doing? Let's do a time check.
We got about 15 minutes. We have 2 episodes of Masked Singer that we will be talking about in just a few minutes. But let's at minimum do some quick, because there is some rumor mill already circulating on who's going to get whom during the offseason, and a name being thrown out for the Chicago Cubs. Justin Verlander.
I don't think I'd want Justin Verlander.
I agree.
I think he's 38 years old.
Yeah, I mean, if we were
39 years old.
If it was 2015 and we were going into the offseason just coming off a NLCS or
15 was the NLCS year.
Yeah. And we have an amazing team, and we're trying to win a World Series, and we needed one more clutch pitcher in our lineup that already has some of the hottest pitchers in the league. Yeah, sure. Let's add a Justin Verlander. Oh wait, we did. His name was John Lackey at the time. So sure, but
yeah, I don't
on a rebuild
see...
team. There's why.
Exactly. I agree with you. I don't think they're still in the rebuilding phase. Now, this year could be viewed as kind of like that 14-15 team if you're comparing them to the teams that led up to this 2016 team getting to the World Series. There's still some question marks on whether the guys that are down in AAA and AA that could make the jump this year are ready, and I don't think Justin Verlander would be the guy to put them over the hump if this guy – because I still don't see this team as being a team that can contend for a wild card spot with or without Justin Verlander.
Yeah.
So I would want to, if they're going to sign a frontline starter, I'd rather see him go after a younger guy.
I mean,
instead.
The hard part is Justin Verlander would get us, 20 wins?
I don't even think he's a 21 pitcher right now at his age. I think right now he's in that 15 to 16.
Okay.
15 to 16 range pitcher, and that's him on a winning World Series contending team.
I don't disagree. I really don't.
So another Cub rumor that I've heard is they're wanting to go after one of the big name shortstops. And the big name shortstops this year, Xander Bogaerts, Trey Turner,
Javi
Carlos
Baez.
Correa, Trey Turner, or Dansby Swanson. And those guys are I think Turner and Bogaerts are in their 30 or around 30, 31. Correa, Swanson are in 28 or 29.
Yeah, I don't think that's a bad move. It is a position that, since we let go, my argument is the greatest shortstop in the league. And it's not just his play on the field, his base running ability, his hitting ability, his overall play. Once we let him go, we're now dealing with the consequences. So, I think
I think he dodged a bullet on re-signing Baez. He hasn't done as well.
Yeah, I mean,
in Detroit. I don't know how much of that has to do with the home park or injuries, and how much of it is the free swinging, all or nothing swing coming into not translating like it used to. His game, I don't think, was going to age well.
Yeah,
age well. They age well. So I think all the Cubs that we let go of that year, I think looking back at it now, how they did is their first year out of Chicago. I think the Cubs did the right thing by letting them go and not bringing them back.
Yeah, I don't disagree with some of that. I do disagree with the fact that his play on the offense still change. Like it's still there's still a huge difference. His play on defense changes everything. Is what I was saying, not offense, defense.
Okay.
His play in defense.
And I'll give you that.
Changes
he's a good
everything.
Defensive guy.
All right. That quick snap tag he does, all of it. So, okay, 10 minutes left, and we have some shout-outs. We have some big shout-outs to do. So, spoiler alert. Rich, what was that?
Spoiler alert.
Wait, you said spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert.
Okay.
We're going to talk about The Masked Singer. So if you're a Masked Singer fan and you haven't seen the last 2 episodes, not just 1, 2 episodes.
We got 2 this week.
We'll see you next week, or make sure to mute us, and we'll give you a little hand signal when we're done talking about The Masked Singer.
I'm going to – please stick around. If you skip ahead 5.5 minutes, and I'll make sure 5.5 minutes. And if at that point I don't say anything, so we're at 50. If I don't say something at 56 minutes, I'll stop at 56 minutes and say, hey, we're still not done, and give you 3 minutes, and then we'll be done. Because I really want you all to hear the last bit of the show. It's really important to me. So,
all right, Mike. So Masked Singer. So we have the Sunday night episode, which was a 90s.
Yeah. Very talented.
So the 90s
people.
night saw the Lambs move on, and we're not going to see them again until the finals.
Yep. So the first, who was the first one out? I forget now. I don't have notes on The Masked Singer written down.
I know. 2 episodes are tough to talk about.
Yeah.
You had, I don't want a video. Okay, so the first person you had unmasked, who I thought did a better job than the second person, Joey Lawrence,
the Walrus. I called that out. I thought he did a really good job singing. I called it out during the clue package. I was like, I think it's this, but I didn't say anything. I 100% thought it in my head, but I didn't say anything. I said, I don't know. And then as soon as he started singing, I said, this is Joey Lawrence. I looked at my wife. I said, this is Joey Lawrence. She's like, who? I said, Blossom. Whoa! And I said, it's Joey Lawrence. I promise you that. And she's like, really? Well, what else is he in? And I'm like, I don't remember. Blossom was the big show. I guess he also did the Lawrence Brothers show, and he did a couple other things. I don't remember all of them, but it's Joey Lawrence. And she's like, okay. And then the panelist guest, Joey Lawrence. And
I got to say, Robin Thicke has been on fire lately.
Yeah.
He's gotten a lot of guesses.
He has. And
all right,
he guessed it, and my wife's like, good job, baby. At least you guessed the same as him. So you can feel good about that. I'm like, I don't care. It is Joey Lawrence. And then it turns out to be Joey Lawrence, and I was right, and I feel good about that one. The second one, the clue package made me guess Deion Sanders.
I have no idea what led me to draw the conclusion to him, but my wife can verify. I actually said Le'Veon Bell during the clue package.
It was probably when he said you can ring my bell.
Yeah, I don't know if it was ring my bell or that I interpreted it like he was one of the first dual threat running backs in the NFL,
and he really was
involved in both the running game and the passing game.
Yeah, I really thought they were going with the two sport. I thought the Bo Jackson or the or Deion Sanders, and I was going with Deion Sanders. Turned out to be Le'Veon Bell. Good job for you on picking that right. He wasn't that good.
No, I didn't think. I thought he rapped better in his clue package than he did singing Jump On It, Apache, and...
Well, he did the Jump On It rap version, not the Jump On It, the Apache's Jump On It. So.
And then, but I felt he did a lot better in the duel than I thought he would.
Yeah, me too. And I thought I agree. But I still think his best performance of the night was the rap that was his clue package. Yeah.
Yeah. So what's your best guess for the Lambs?
I don't have one.
You don't have one?
I think the Dixie Chicks.
Yeah, that's where I'm kind of leaning to. All right, Mike. And then on Wednesday, the normally scheduled night for Masked Singer here in the U.S., we had Hall of Fame night, which was the Venus Flytrap being the first one unmasked.
Okay, this group has been by far and away the worst group we've ever heard on a single night.
I can agree with that.
There is nobody I think that deserves to be in the semifinals at all.
But in all fairness, there is the Bridezilla. Bridezilla does have to go one more week. He didn't get they did not get an automatic pass to the final. It is a dude. Spoiler. We already gave a spoiler that it is a dude in that costume. But I really did think that I was kind of surprised when they did the Venus Flytrap going off before. Before the Gopher.
I thought the Venus Flytrap did the best of the night. I did not like anybody on Wednesday night. I thought the Venus Flytrap did the best, and it turns out that he was. Oh wait, time out. Give us 3 minutes if you came back.
Mm-hmm.
We're at the 56 and a couple seconds mark, so skip ahead to 59 minutes. We'll be done in 3 minutes, in 2.5 minutes. You'll be fine. Okay. So 3, 2, 1. Okay, the Venus Flytrap was George Foreman. Did a great job.
Yeah, I liked this. I liked it. I mean, for me, it was talking about I had I had just as much, if not more, success in the 90s in a third phase of my life than I did when I was at the top of my game. That's the thing.
And I will say, as soon as Robin Thicke said George Foreman, I was like, 100%. The clues all work. I 100% was on board as soon as he said George Foreman the first time, not even during the unmasking. So, yeah, totally called that. Totally liked that one. Totally thought it made sense.
And then the Gopher took on the Bridezilla. I don't think either was really great during the battle song. So really, I wouldn't have been upset if either one of them got unmasked. But it was the Gopher.
During the clue package, did you have a guess for who the Gopher was? Because I did.
I did not.
I thought, could it be Bill Murray?
Oh, okay.
The Gopher made sense. The comedy stuff made sense. There was a lot of stuff in it that made sense. It wasn't, though. It turned out that it was
George Clinton.
Yeah. Great, funktastic man. That guy's awesome. He's one of the best producers of all time. It's amazing.
And Robin had that one, too.
Yeah, he did. Robin is on a tear. Man, if you are not watching that show with us, we both highly recommend it. It's a fun thing. My wife enjoys it. I think your whole both you and your wife totally love it. It's just fun for everyone. Give it a check. Okay. Now, before.
So do you have any guesses on who the Bridezilla is?
TB12.
Tom Brady 12. I went with Sammy Hagar just because of the whole. The riffs and the wah, thrown in.
Sure.
If you listen to, for me, I led me to say Sammy Hagar talking about the riffs and the yells.
Rich, I think the end of it. I think you could have done better on the show than he did. I didn't think anybody did well that night. So
no, I don't think he did. That's why I'm going with that.
And we're done. Okay. We got to be done because welcome back, everybody. At 59 minutes, it's not nearly enough time for our last shout out. But Rich, do you have any shout outs that you want to give before I give? And I'm going to steal the final shout out because.
Yeah, you always do on this day.
Yeah.
So, just a happy birthday to Joe Perry.
Yeah.
As a former Marine, once a Marine, always a Marine. So you get 2 birthdays because of the Marine Corps birthday on Friday, and he was also a fellow veteran.
Yeah.
As well as, and also a happy Veterans Day to all the guys that I served with during my 14 years in the National Guard.
Yeah, and so every year we take this time for me to tell you, Rich, how proud and how thankful I am for just your friendship, but even more so the fact that if you don't know, this man here was willing to go to war for you. He believes in the country. He believes in the people of this country. And Rich, I can't thank you enough. We could go another whole hour on how much you deserve and how much it means to me that you were willing to serve and how much it means to so many people around us that you're willing to put that in. It's amazing to me the amount of love and care that you have, not only for your loved ones around you, but for perfect strangers, that you would be willing to do such a thing. I have to say thank you. Thank you for sharing the stories you've shared with me. Thank you for finding a safe space with me, but also being just willing to go out and do that. Thank you isn't enough, but again, it's all I have. We'll buy you lunch next week or in 2 weeks. But that's not just, I mean, I buy you lunch not just because you won the bet, but because I like you as a person. And I appreciate everything you've done for this country. You made a couple different tours, one to Africa, one to Iraq.
Yeah, I was in Baghdad for a year.
Yeah. Now, this guy who we're looking at that we get to listen to every week talk about sports and have fun, shares went to Baghdad for a year. I won't tell you all of the stories that he shared with me, but saved a man's life, saved people's lives as a shell went through the area where you were at. You are amazing, and I can't thank you enough. Is there anybody? Do you have any names you want to share this week? As I'll give you the last couple of seconds before we get going.
So yeah, so I mean, I've always kind of had I don't know how to respond to things like that, but I mean, over the past couple of years, it's just been it was an honor to have served. So I signed up because it was a way to get college paid for. But at the end of the day, I mean, I did my job that I was trained to do. It just so happened that I got to do that job over in Iraq instead of doing the 2 weeks a year, 1 month, 2 weeks a year, the 2 weeks a year, and the 1 weekend a month that I had originally thought I was signing up for. So, but either way, it was an honor to have served. So just like you do on Memorial Day and around and in June when he passed, Sergeant Brian Romines, the one guy from our unit that didn't make it back.
Yeah.
So hoping one day to be able to go down to the way down south in southern Illinois and travel on the Sergeant Brian Romines Memorial Highway down and around Anna, Illinois. So we're hoping to do that this winter on our when we come home from Texas, when we visit next time we drive home from Texas. So
okay, Rich, what's the time to do?
Mike, let's go ahead and roll that outro. But actually, before we do we have any additional reaction or comment shout-outs?
No additional reaction or comment shout-outs. We did have, I guess Bob did give us a thumbs up. So thank you, Bob Driscoll,
so Mike,
for
if they're listening to us here on Facebook, they want to take us on the road with them, where can they find us?
Anywhere where you find your podcast. Spotify, we're on Anchor, we're on Spotify, we're on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts,
Apple.
We're on iHeartRadio. So anywhere where you find your podcast.
All right, Mike. And if they're listening to us, and they want to be able to interact with us live, or at the very minimum, maybe see the audio visual portion of our podcast, where are the two places that they can find that?
You can find us at YouTube or on Facebook. Just look up Balls and Sticks and look for Rich and I playing in tuxedos, pretending like we're swinging baseball bats.
All right, and with that, Mike, now we can go ahead and roll that outro. Thanks for listening, folks, and we'll talk at you next week.
Broadcasting live from somewhere in Iowa, this is Balls and Sticks, the podcast, with your hosts, Mike and Rich.